If you get a security clearance, will you get a higher salary? There's a security clearance compensation report that comes out annually, and it shows the average salaries of individuals that are cleared in the public sector and the private sector. The average salary of an employee with a clearance is $114,000 a year, but this amount changes depending on where you work. For government employees, the average is $110,000 a year, and for contractors, the average is $118,000 a year. $8,000 a year is not that huge gap that most people are thinking about when they're comparing the private sector with the public sector. In the federal government, there's a wide range of clearances. It could be top secret SCI, confidential, secret. So which one pays the most? Clearances in the intelligence agencies like the CIA, FBI, or NSA, they pay the most. And then after that, it's DoD top secret with SCI, which stands for Sensitive Compartmented Information. Some top secret SCI jobs, they require a polygraph. That might make some people nervous. A couple types of polygraph. You have your lifestyle polygraph. You have your full scope polygraph. But the good news is, if you're willing to be uncomfortable and go through the polygraph, those workers, they're earning $30,000 more a year. Now here's the thing. Not all government jobs require a security clearance. In fact, most of them do not require any clearance. If we check out USAJobs.gov and click clearance, we can see there are over 8,000 government jobs that do not require any clearances. Around 3,000 require secret clearances, and around 600 require top secret. Most government jobs that do require a clearance will either be in the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, or the Department of Energy. But it will depend on what type of job you have and what are you doing. Because having a clearance means that you have access to documents or information that, if released, could jeopardize national security. Now, the amount you're getting paid will often depend on your occupation. Thankfully, this report breaks it down by occupation. If you want to earn the most, then the occupation is engineering with up to $173,000 a year, followed by information technology. The lowest paid cleared occupation are people in the business and finance or emergency healthcare. The next chart shows the amount of salaries, the amount of pay based on location. Location matters a lot. I was talking to a guy the other day. He said he never heard of anyone coming into the government as a GS-11 or higher. Well, that's because he's in the wrong location. There's people in DC that come in as GS-14, GS-15 just about every day. But if you're out there in Nebraska or maybe South Dakota, yeah, maybe your GS-12 is the chief that's in charge of the entire office. That could be true. So location does matter. So the highest paying area is Northern Virginia, followed by Colorado, Maryland, DC, and then California. Maybe you can get a remote job, 100% remote. You can live out there in Nebraska, Indiana, and that's great for you. I'm happy for you. But if you're in these rural type states, if you're in these areas with limited economical activity, limited job possibilities, then you're going to have to move at some point if you want to chase after those higher salaries. Next is the remote work chart. This shows that 57% of cleared workers have the ability to either remote work at times or do hybrid option. This is surprising because many people that hold top secret clearances or top secret SCI, these are people that work in a SCIF. And a SCIF is a secure environment where you're accessing the classified documents. You cannot do that same work at home. Even though you have a VPN, doesn't matter. Most of that cannot be done at your house. So it's really surprising that some of these agencies are allowing people with these clearances to work at home. Now, you could work on general administrative tasks a couple of days a week, and maybe that's what they're doing when they're working at home. All right, so then we have a chart here that's breaking it down by which agency is actually paying the most. Top of the list is Department of Defense, followed by Department of Homeland Security, and then Department of Energy. The way that pay works in the federal government is you have a GS grade oftentimes. 70% of people are on the GS pay scale. So you have a GS-12. If that GS-12 has a clearance, he's not getting paid anymore. If that GS-12 has no clearance, he's still getting the same pay. So you could have somebody who has a top secret clearance as a GS-12, they're going to be earning less than someone who has no clearance as a GS-15. They're going to be earning a lot less. So simply by having the clearance, possessing it, it's not going to give you any monetary awards. But you could be in a position that might be authorized for, let's say, SSR, special salary rate. That doesn't mean that you need a clearance or you don't need a clearance. That just means there's a critical skill gap that needs to be filled, and they're going to give you a financial incentive on top of your regular salary. So there's a misconception with some people that feel that just because they have a top secret, they should be getting paid more. Now, in the private sector, if you already have a clearance, maybe you can leverage that during salary negotiations and get a higher pay, but not in the public sector, not in the federal government. Once you decide to get a clearance, the studies show that most people don't think about leaving the industry for the next 5 years. Only 13% are likely to leave and do something completely different. Okay, now let's look at the age and gender chart to see who's getting paid and who's actually getting clearances. Obviously, Generation Z is getting the least amount of money because they don't have the same level of experience. Boomers are still making the most, followed by Generation X. And most of the clear positions are held by men. Only 23% of women hold a clear job from this study. From my conversations with individuals looking to get cleared positions in the federal government, these are people usually from the communities of the military or law enforcement. These are people looking to become 1811, special agent, criminal investigators, things like that. So military communities tend to lean heavy on the male side. Same thing with law enforcement. Here's another consideration. If you are considering one of these government positions that have a clearance requirement, the obligation is on the government to get you your clearance. It's not going to cost you anything, but it will cost you some time because the time will extend when you're talking about the hiring process. Usually hiring process 4 to 6 months. They can get you in the seat. The agency can put you in the seat. With a clearance, that could be 6 to 8 months. There are times I heard about, especially with the CIA recently, where it took 12 months to get you in that spot. Not just that, but you're going to have to be willing and able to open up your life and be open to scrutiny. I've sat through an interview for a top secret clearance, and at times you could be made to feel like the bad guy, or you're the suspect, or maybe you're hiding something. Even if you're not hiding something, you're trying to be open and transparent. It's not always seen that way. It's not always felt that way when you're being asked those tough questions by the interviewer. Whether you're targeting a government job with the clearance or not, the first criteria I think that's in your best interest is the salary. What do you need to sustain your level of life, your lifestyle? Or what do you need to exceed what you're currently at right now? Let pay be the main factor on whether you will consider a job or not. There's so many people that have such a narrow scope, like I'm only willing to work for the NSA, I'm only willing to get a GS-12, and it has to be in this location. If you have such a narrow scope on your job search, you're reducing the probability of you getting a position in a timely manner. You could be waiting for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So open yourself up. Be willing to take different opportunities. If you are interested in getting a federal government job, some of the pay and incentive structures have changed. Some of the policies have changed. If you're interested in learning about how much money you could potentially get with some of these incentives, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.